Welcome to the Rec Room Podcast. This is episode 53. This is one of our Dream Chasers episodes, and this is Dream Chasers what?
3.
Dream Chasers 3. And we have a special guest in the building who I'm about to introduce. But before I do that, I'm your host. I go by E1. We got T Streets in the building.
Yep.
We got Trey Philando in the building.
That's the rumor.
And we got our special guest Thad in the building, man.
What up?
And we just want to welcome you. I want to thank you for coming to the pod. Thad has an awesome story. He's a former police officer. We're going to get into that. And he has a lot to speak about and talk about, man. Just a good brother to have on the pod. And y'all know how we do. You know, we start with sports. And the first thing I have to do is I have to ask Thad, who is your football team?
Oh man, you gonna hate me, brother, but it's the Eagles, man.
Eagles, okay.
But you know what? I don't even really want to touch base with them right now. I ain't gonna lie.
You might not want to.
Man, it suck right now.
NFC East. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm Commanders. Commanders. So we ain't got nothing to talk about at all. At least y'all got a game coming up, right?
You want to know who I am? I'm a rightful, happy, elated fan of the team that's going to win the Super Bowl in 2025. Chicago Bears with Caleb Williams. My bad.
Okay, no, it's okay. One thing I'll give Trey is he's a very positive thinker. It's not always true about the stuff that he's saying, but it is positive. You know what I mean?
That ain't happening.
Very optimistic guy.
We're going, bro. We're going.
I don't know if that's happening. So while we on sports, we're gonna talk about a little bit of college. There was a national championship game. T Streets, who played?
You had Washington versus Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines, and Michigan spanked them 34-13.
Now, what I'm gonna say about that is before that game, because Washington had beat I forgot who they played before that. Texas. They played so well, and their quarterback played so well. You had a lot of people that were thinking that that would carry over. It seems like after they lost, that everybody's back on saying how they knew that Michigan was going to win. I don't want to hear that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all was talking about how Washington was going to upset and everything like that, but Washington lost. It was a good game, but with that game, after that, Jim Harbaugh is the coach of Michigan, and he's a former NFL player, also
from Chicago Bear. We drafted him. You're doing great.
But his whole family, well, not his whole family, but he has a brother who coaches in the NFL, man, and they're really good, great coaches. And with that win, I think that they're saying now he's rumored to actually, because he got an agent before this, and so now he's rumored to go to the NFL.
Commanders.
That's the word, right?
Commanders.
So that's what
we probably going to the Chargers.
Commanders.
Yes, I don't know. So with that, to stay with sports, there was big news in college. Nick Saban retired from coaching, right? Now, for those who don't know, Nick Saban also coached in the NFL, right? Previously, but he's labeled as the GOAT coach in college football.
Right.
What's his record, man? I wanted to pull it up.
Shit.
He is like
100.
How many national titles they got?
6.
6?
Yep.
Damn.
6 titles, bro. 6 titles.
He's Nick Saban is 206 and 29.
Wow.
That's business, man.
That's career.
Now, this what I'm gonna ask y'all. All right, are we attributing his success to his good coaching or him able to recruit after he was winning?
Both.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to remember, he won at Michigan State, 11-1, took them to a good bowl game. He went to LSU, won a national championship. He started somewhere else before Michigan State.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the small school he started at. He went to Miami for a cup of tea. It didn't work out. Then Alabama came calling. He changed that program around because they were down in the dumps for some years before he got there. And he just went on a spree. He's the greatest to ever do it.
Would you attribute that when you go into the NFL and you're like a really hot college name, right? And it doesn't work out in NFL? Is it because the owners don't give you full control, or is it because college just works out better for you? Because Jimmy Johnson went from the Hurricanes and went to Dallas and lost 1 year, and then once he got his personnel in the second year, Troy Aikman sucked the first year, right? Second year he won. He did great. but rarely do college coaches who are good in college are good in NFL. So Saban went to NFL, went back and dominated for years.
Yeah, it's the trick of changing yourself from being the teacher, everything I says goes, to trying to work with these grown men because they're making a lot of money.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Like sometimes, in college, your mentality is more of a do what I say, and get your ass over there. And I told you, all that type of disciplinary type shit, right?
Yeah.
But then when you start to coach grown men, especially in this day and time, I think back in the day it was different because getting talked to like that was kind of the norm.
Yeah.
But I think now, sometimes, it's a more sensitive time that we in, so it's a little different. And so now they kind of, I guess that going hard like that doesn't always resonate when you get to the NFL level.
Yeah.
And if you carry that into it, it can affect, I guess, how people play or whatever.
One more question with the college. Do y'all see any more college dynasties anymore because of the NIL and the player portal?
Not like Bama.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
But yes, there will be dynasties. I don't think it will be
Like
that
that?
16-year run.
I agree.
Because if you promise I was gonna play and I ain't playing, I'm gonna just leave. I'm gonna go to his college. So it's not like you can control me like he was saying, get your ass. All right, cool. I'm gonna just go to the portal.
yeah,
No loyalty.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a whole
So
different thing.
And with the money in college,
it's different.
it's different.
Caleb Williams is already a millionaire. He's not even in the NFL.
I know
yet,
that's
bro.
the thing, and they young.
Damn.
They young.
I don't
bro.
know.
That's
Y'all might,
stupid,
we
y'all.
might trade him. We might trade y'all number one pick and get whatever y'all.
Man,
he might not listen to us.
To go to the NFL, this was big news because New England's head coach
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, they said they came to a mutual agreement to part ways with New England. Now he's been the coach there for a very long time. They have, how many Super Bowls have they won?
6.
6 Super Bowls.
Should have won 8.
They declare him like the
He's the
GOAT.
NFL GOAT.
I would say he's the
right?
GOAT. I would say he's the GOAT.
Now, my question is this. So, they said they came to a mutual agreement. I read something where they were saying that Bill Belichick kind of felt like the way that he coached was kind of being stripped from him. It was rumors saying that he didn't really know how to select personnel. I don't know exactly what happened, but the bottom line is they mutually agreed. And they had a 27-year tenure, man. That's unbelievable. So no matter how, you never want it to end, but things do come to an end. But for it to go that long, that's remarkable. Probably will never happen again in that way. So, that's what's up. So now they're saying that that Coach Belichick is so good that people who already have good coaches would get rid of their good coach to have Belichick.
Depends on who the team is. I think that Bill Belichick, he comes with an aura to him. And then it's like, nigga, but when Tom Brady left, you was down here with us, right? And it also came out that the owner, what's the owner's name, T, of the Patriots? It'll come to me.
Slipping my mind.
It was saying that he was saying that Belichick told him that Brady was done, that Brady couldn't play, right? So then he goes and wins with somebody else. So that puts you on the clock. I got rid of Jimmy G for Brady, but still, even if Brady leaves, Jimmy G's not here, you still Belichick. We drafted the quarterback you wanted. We're not seeing any results. You didn't make the playoffs. It's time to go.
Yeah, it happens like that. I'm curious to see what team he's going to go to and if he can be a successful coach. I think he is. He's a good coach.
Going to the Commanders.
The crazy thing is, he said that he said that Tom Brady was over with. Tom Brady goes and get a Super Bowl. I saw people saying stuff like, well, Tom Brady had a good defense. Who cares?
Right.
There's people who have, people that go their whole career without getting a Super Bowl. This dude won all those Super Bowls in New England, went to Tampa Bay,
Tom Brady
and won another Super Bowl. And you talking about, because he had a good defense. I don't want to hear that shit, man.
Nah. It's a lot of people that have good defense that don't win a Super Bowl.
Jordan of football, whatever.
Bill has a style. He gives you an age limit of when you should decline, and he's getting rid of you. And that was successful in New England.
That's true.
Mainly because he had Tom Brady holding it down. He lose Tom Brady. His formula is still the same. He just needed to find a quarterback, and he didn't find the right one in New England.
True. Now the playoffs, the NFL playoffs have started. Actually, there was a game how many?
Two games
two games yesterday.
Yeah.
2 games.
The Cleveland Browns played the Texans, who has a
Spanking.
rookie
Their
quarterback
ass whoop.
who's who's actually playing so well that he's setting records and market history.
Yes.
They beat the shit out of
They beat the
Cleveland, man.
brakes
And I
off
saw Joe
Cleveland, bro.
Flacco, man. How you throw 2 pick sixes?
Two
bro?
pick sixes.
I mean,
bro.
like, I don't get it, and I get it, right? He was in a position where he was on his couch, basically.
Yeah, he
and
was.
they needed him, and he came through for him. He really saved their season. For it to end like that was kind of like, damn, okay. So that was that game. Then Miami played. Who Miami
KC.
played? Played KC in Kansas City.
The real goat.
It was like
the curly head goat.
They said it was super cold. Even Andy Reid mustache froze
Bro,
up. Man.
Yeah, it's like negative 7 degrees out there.
Man,
Andy Reid a funny dude,
Kansas City. Now, Miami had a lot of injuries. That's had a lot of
That's
injuries.
true. That is true.
Especially on the defense. And then they in Miami, so they not. And there's no excuses. The NFL is what it is, right?
Right.
But Miami lost, and so KC won, and then and the Texans won. So now today, who played today, T?
Today we have
Packers
Green
play.
Bay versus Dallas.
Green Bay
That's
gonna lose today. Go ahead, T.
Green Bay. I think Green Bay gonna upset Dallas.
Well, we're gonna put some on it.
I hope they do.
And then tonight we have the Rams at Detroit.
Go
Good
Detroit.
game.
Go Lions.
Good game.
Go
That's
Lions.
gonna be a good
Yeah.
game.
Go
I
Lions.
see
But I don't know,
Detroit. I see
bro.
Detroit.
McVay is a top 5 coach, bro. McVay he's so nice. Like the Rams, they really overachieved, man. So I'm definitely gonna watch that game.
It's the battle with the quarterbacks.
Go Detroit, and they in my
The battle
division.
of the trade.
They my division, right? They're my division rival, but they suck for so long. I'm rooting for Detroit. Let's go Detroit.
All right, so that's
like
that's
that.
it for that. Basketball wise, you all
Hold on,
know.
before we go to basketball, who's your Super Bowl pick?
Shit.
I'm going with. I hate to
Who
say,
you got that? Who
It
you
ain't
got?
the Eagles.
And AJ Brown not
Who
playing.
they going
tomorrow.
against? Who you got them going
No, I
against?
said it ain't.
Oh, it's not the Eagles. Okay.
So who you got? Just give me one.
I think
We still have the Ravens in San Francisco on the bye.
Ooh.
I'm gonna tell you who I want to win, and I'm gonna tell you who I think going to win.
I don't
Okay.
know, man.
Okay.
Like I some I got a feeling like the Cowboys may be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I got a feeling the
Let's
Cowboys
go.
gonna be in the
I'm gonna
Super Bowl.
go. Okay, I want the Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
I
I
think.
like that pick. I like that pick.
I think Kansas City is going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Who you got, T?
I think Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl.
I think Kansas fucking City's going to win.
But I wanna-
Mahomes is
I don't
the
know,
GOAT.
man.
Bro,
I want to see Baltimore versus San Francisco.
I want
That's
to see
what I want to see.
Baltimore. Every
Yeah,
time
that would be
Baltimore get to the club and they can never get in the club. Like they always just
Yeah.
outside of where they're supposed to be. So I until
agree.
they do it, but bro, Mahomes, bro, and Rice is starting to actually catch the ball now like he did last night.
Yeah.
It's going to be a problem.
They can't catch the ball.
It's going to be a
They're
problem.
always dropping balls, man,
but
all
they-
season.
Right, Kansas City.
KC.
Yeah, I know.
But they started when they catch them. That's what happened last night. Is going to happen.
Now, this is just a little blurb about basketball, and I'm bringing it up because John Morant, you all know that he had the thing where he got suspended for flashing a gun twice, I guess, or
Twice,
something
yeah.
like that. And so he got suspended 25 games. He lost some endorsements. Was a bad look for him. He came back. And as soon as he came back, he made an impact on the Memphis Grizzlies. But with that being said, while he was making the impact, he got hurt, and he's out for the rest of the season. So that's that's unfortunate in a way of sports, but fortunate if you think about the big picture as in he's still getting paid.
He's still getting
that.
super pay, and I think that they were about 5 games out of the play-in, right? I think that they would have made the play-in.
I don't think so.
If he played for the rest of the year, I think so.
I think that they would have made the play-in. Right now, you got the Minnesota Timberwolves sitting at 1 in the West. OKC sitting at 2. T, are these teams going to be there at 1 and 2 at the end of the season? Minnesota and OKC.
It's possible, but Denver, all roads go through my team, Denver.
What about? But you know who?
like that.
You know who is coming on strong and is not looking back is the Clippers.
Clippers looking
The Clippers,
good.
the Clippers might,
too,
bro.
man. And they did a good thing when they got
Hard.
when they got
I
hard.
was hating on it, but
At first
it's
I didn't
working,
like that. But
It's
when I
regular
go to-
season.
it is.
It's the regular season.
And then
But
Mhm.
yeah, for Harden it's regular season, but
That's true.
Kawhi gonna hoop in the playoffs if he's not hurt.
If he's not hurt in the East, I'm gonna do the top 3. Boston's number 1. They got their ass whooped by Milwaukee like 2 days ago by 30 something. They was down 40 in like the first half. Then you got Philly. Can Embiid stay healthy? Who could take the East? Who could take the East in basketball?
Who's the third team?
The third team is Philly.
Who's the second team?
Milwaukee.
Okay.
Who just stomped out Boston by 30.
Yeah, but I don't know. I say Boston gonna get to the
You
finals.
think Boston still gonna do it?
Yeah, I do.
I'm saying Dame time gonna
That's my
show
favorite
up in
team.
the
Anyway.
playoffs.
The Celtics.
The Celtics? Bruh, Milwaukee can do it, but Milwaukee defense is not. They defense have to get. If they're not on that thing, Boston gonna take it.
Yeah, they need to add somebody before the trade deadline
Yeah,
for defensive specialists.
So now there's so to keep it in sports, and I think this is our last sports story. Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock, right? So Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock have a feud. They're former colleagues, right? Now, Jason Whitlock, to me, he's a columnist. He has a podcast. They say he's a former player. I don't know if he was a former NFL or he played football. I'm not positive. But he's one of them guys that if everybody say the sky's blue, he's going to say it's yellow.
Right.
That's his personality. I don't know if that's just naturally who he is or he just goes against the grain because that's like his brand. I'm not positive. But he has some things to say about. So just to backtrack, Cat Williams was on Club Shay Shay. And he had a lot to say, and he called Kevin Hart an industry plant. That interview got millions of views and just had everybody talking about it. He said a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
right. That was one of the things, right? So Stephen A. Smith wrote a book, and Jason Whitlock was basically saying that the book was some bullshit, and was basically saying that Stephen A. is a plant. Stephen A. had somebody else write the book. The book was not true.
He was lying.
So we all know who Stephen A. Smith is. He's an analyst on ESPN. He has his own show. Stephen A. Smith is a beast, right? So of course, when you're on a show, you have to cater to your audience, and you work for someone.
Right.
So on ESPN, he's not able to talk like he would want to talk because he's on TV or whatever.
Right.
But he has his own podcast or show, whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the name of it. And on that show, he was able.
Stephen A. Smith show, ain't it?
He got a couple joints.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith show. Yep.
No, it is called that. Yep.
The podcast. Yep.
Yep. So on that show, it's his own thing, so he's able to say what he wants.
True.
So on that show, he was calling Jason Whitlock a bitch and
fat bastard. He said fat bastard like 17 times, dog. Like he wanted to emphasize that shit. That shit was funny as fuck.
Talk about it, bro.
Listen, it's been a long feud. Jason Whitlock has been talking shit about Stephen A. for years. Stephen A. family, the book and the 1.5 points average per game. Not possible if you only played one game. That was like the last straw. And Stephen A. felt he had to respond. And normally, I love this type of energy. I love it normally. But truthfully, he should have ignored it. Not because that's the mature thing to do. It's because his clapback was trash. I didn't like it.
He took the whole show. I didn't even watch it.
I watched it. I watched the show.
Like 5 minutes of it, but it took the whole. Yeah, it was. You know what I mean?
Look, Stephen A., you're friends with Joe Budden. You're friends with Cameron. You should have got some tips from them before you went on your clapback because it was trash.
Okay.
Now I believe everything you said, and I'm with you. But the clapback was trash. It was hard. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was. It's funny because when people feud like that, I look at it as more humorous than real life kind of thing because these guys are just talking shit to each other. It's nothing gonna happen. Not saying that I would want something to happen, but it's just more entertainment than anything. I just look at it like that. It's just, it's funny to me to hear Stephen A. Smith cuss because he seems like a person who never used cuss words before.
He's too buttoned up.
He couldn't even cuss. Why couldn't he cuss him out right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the Stephen A. when he first got to ESPN, Stephen A.
he was different.
If that guy was doing the clap back, this would have been great.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was a little different.
He was different.
He got too much money.
He still had the hood in him.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that the hood is gone.
Yeah.
But
He's the same.
He's 10 million, man. He's up.
Yeah, true.
He's
so, he gonna talk a little different, right?
And this is no diss, Stephen A. If you happen to see it, you probably won't.
Stephen A. gonna be on the show. Stephen A. gonna be on the show with us.
I just didn't like the clapback. You could have.
Let us help you with your
that.
clapback, Stephen. And when you come, we're gonna talk about it.
So, to move away from sports, we're gonna get into. I know everybody has heard about, or I'm sure you have, Jeffrey Epstein. Mm-hmm. Right. So Jeffrey Epstein, I'm gonna get into a few key points about him. Right. So Jeffrey Epstein is a financier, financier. Mm-hmm. Who was arrested in July 2019 on charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking. He was denied bail ahead of his trial. That's one point. The second point is Epstein died while in jail, and his death was officially ruled a suicide by the New York City Medical Examiner. That's a lot of people think that he was killed, and we're gonna get into that. Another point is Epstein, a convicted sex offender who previously served 13 months in a Palm Beach County jail, had a high-profile social circle. His former associates include Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Queen Elizabeth's son, Prince Andrew.
Yeah, they killed him.
In July 2020, his ex-girlfriend and longtime associate, Ghislaine, I'm sure I'm fucking it up, but Maxwell, was arrested on charges relating to Epstein's sex trafficking operation. She was found guilty of 5 out of 6 charges, and in June 2022, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. It says court papers relating to Epstein were unsealed in January 2024, which is where we are now, under a judge's orders. The papers formed part of defamation lawsuit that Virginia filed against Maxwell and included the testimony of Epstein's victims as well as that of witnesses and other evidence relevant to now settled 2015 case. It's a lot more to read, but I'm just giving you an overall view of what we, get ready to talk about and who he is. They say he started off as a school teacher,
math teacher,
and it's also said they don't really know how he got his riches per se. But what we do know is that he was arrested, and they were saying that he had an island, and on this island, he was kind of sex trafficking. Not kind of, that's what he was doing. And he had a whole bunch of stars that were a part of this. And while they were in court, I guess some of these documents were sealed, but now they letting them kind of be open. And I guess Bill Clinton and other people were part of the people that visited. I mean, it's not proven that, I don't know if they have proof that they went there and did anything with underage girls, but they're just known to have went there.
Or boys.
Or boys.
You never know.
Underage.
And so when he got in all this trouble, it was a big thing. And they're saying that like a little bit of time after that, they say he killed himself. A lot of people don't believe he killed himself. A lot of people believe that he was killed because he knew too much.
Absolutely.
I just want to get y'all takes of y'all opinion on the situation. T Streets.
Well, if you look at some of the names on that list, like you said former President Bill Clinton. We know him. He's famous for getting head in Oval Office.
That
so
part.
you know he was wilding on the island.
That part.
He's wilding on the island. you got Kevin Spacey, brilliant actor,
shit.
but he got kicked off his show. It was a House of Cards.
Yeah,
for dealing with the underage teenage boy.
Yeah.
You have the model Naomi Campbell was on the list. Let's see. Let me pick out a couple more names.
Damn, I know Naomi
Chris
Campbell
Tucker on the list.
Oh, shit, I know Chris Tucker.
What Cat say in his special or on the Shay Shay Club show about Chris?
What did he say about Chris?
He said something about he was smoky and now he changed. He been to the Epstein Island. So,
Hey, bro.
Oh man,
I didn't get to that part of the cat joint, bro.
So do you believe that how much of this do you believe really happened? And I'm gonna ask you, Trey, do you think he killed himself or do you think he was killed?
I think that somebody had something happen to him in there. But by that time he done said whatever he said. They had the documents, but I think that somebody got to him. When you were walking through Central Park with the guy from the royal family, you were already on a list of dealing with underage kids, and you are still having these type of contacts with people. Even in 2020, he had Bill Clinton on a plane 3 times. So you a former president. It's nobody around you that's telling you that your man has been locked up for sex trafficking.
He knows.
He tried to say he
So come on with the bullshit, bro. Right? So you have a private island where you are flying these people out with these young underage girls. Then he's telling the young underage girls to bring other underage girls. That's a ring. That's a sex traffic ring. And the young lady that's locked up too, she would bring the girls. She would be she got 20 years. When did you see that shit?
Yeah.
She would lure these young girls in. But the thing is, who are you going to see locked up from that list, and how are they going to get evidence? It has to be a lot of those young girls who have to come out and say, yeah, it was him, he was there, and she was there. So that's going to have to happen next.
What you feel about it, Thad?
I mean, to pick it off of what Trey said, man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm one to stay out of the news because of stuff like this. True. But when you think about sex trafficking, it's something that has been here for decades, and it's growing again. Like, it's getting more,
it's being more
upfront,
exposed.
more exposed. And I think right now, I 100% think he was killed.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because he did, in fact, know too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
period.
He knew everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you think about it that way, how often do we only get pieces of the actual story? We never get the whole thing.
We don't.
Man.
Yeah.
And so the social media, it allows us to, it gives the opportunity, obviously, to choose whether what our opinions are, but it kind of gives us what media wants us to think anyway.
Yes, sir.
And so right now we're just getting pulled to try to figure, all right, is it what is truly right or what's wrong? I don't think the actual truth will ever come out.
No.
Unless a whole bunch of the white girls come out and get together and name a people.
They'll go missing.
Okay, so look,
they'll go missing as well.
So tell me, you got to think about this. When does that ever happen?
Right.
It really doesn't happen.
It happened with the guy.
Getting paid off.
What's the movie guy? The guy that was the big movie guy.
You talking about
Harvey
Weinstein?
Yeah, him. He went to jail.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's one. I'm just saying, like,
that's movies only though. Does he have government officials on his list?
You talk about
people that make people disappear.
You talk about the biggest business
ever.
Yeah.
The biggest business.
The biggest people in the biggest business.
That shit ain't coming up, bro.
Bruh. It's like not one girl.
It's not gonna be enough.
Whoever they thought was gonna say something's probably done already.
Shit. Right. They gonna get killed.
Nah, you right, bro.
I mean, we probably should start talking about it.
Right.
Before they come get us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Everything's allegedly. We don't know what happened.
We don't. Who wants to talk about this?
We wasn't there.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Was it you, Trey?
I ain't want to talk about T. Brought that shit up.
Nah, y'all tripping on AG. Y'all get our shit taken off YouTube.
T wanted to bring it up.
Shout out to AG.
It was AG. AG a plant. AG a plant.
That's what it is. He trying to get our shit
The whole time, AG. It's our last show.
AG, you go to a lot of islands. You been here? Yeah, answer
You want us to talk about it? You want to show and talk about the shit? That's some shit.
Give us the advice. So that's all we got on upcoming events. But now what we get ready to get into is our special guest, man. And I'm happy to hear, man. I want to introduce y'all to Thad. And Thad, I just want you to go into your background, man. Just tell the audience a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, first and foremost, man, I'm humble. Appreciate being here, man. I think that this is something that it's a movement, in the direction that you all have come. I've had the opportunity to look at a lot of your content, and it's very inspiring.
Appreciate it.
I think that more and more people in our African American community need to do more things like this. The outreaching to bring in people to what's currently going on in America, because I ain't gonna lie, I am a complete outsider. I don't look at none of this shit.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm the same way.
And so to be in a space where this is getting brought up, these things that are very important that someone like myself would not even think about looking at, because I don't look at news at all.
Yeah.
It's cool just to hear from a perspective from our brothers and our sisters. You know, because we are very misunderstood, you know, as a culture, as a people. And I think that this gives, you know, people a good insight on, you know, what's going on and truly how to address the things that are most important. So again, appreciate being here first.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
To your question, you know, I was born in Alexandria, Virginia.
Hey.
TC.
Born in Alexandria, Virginia. I grew up in Fredericksburg, Virginia. That's where I went to college. I mean, that's where I went to high school. That played football out there. Loved it. Ended up leaving there and going to a school called Randolph-Macon.
Okay.
Which is in Ashland, Virginia. I was a collegiate football player there. All conference running back. Had some semi-pro looks, but that just wasn't a direction I wanted to go into. Left there, graduating, and then bounced around a little bit. So I met my man Trey. We did security together, and then I ended up leaving there and joining the police department. Had a short stint in.
And where did you join the police department?
Anne Arundel County.
Okay.
Yeah, Anne Arundel County.
Before we move forward, let's move it back. So you played college ball. How were the groupies?
You know,
was it a lot of them at Randolph-Macon?
It's a lot of white girls, man. Hence why the only white girl I've ever been with is my wife.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Hey,
so,
that's the age.
We're gonna get into that.
It all worked out, but yeah. My college. I don't know how much you want me to dive into college right now, but that's the actual. No, what I mean to say is like that is college is the reason why I am the man I am today.
Okay,
it really was the tree stump, and then the branches and everything else kind of veered from college.
Okay, well you can finish your overall, and then we'll come. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
You can finish what you was. Yeah. So I actually forgot to say that I was in the reserves. I was in Army Reserves. Okay.
The goal was to go from college, being in the reserves. When I graduated, I was going to go full-time military police.
Okay.
From military police, I was then going to become one of the 3-letter agencies: CIA, ATF. That was my dream. Ended up my recruiter ended up leaving and going to Kuwait my senior year. They lost my paperwork for the military.
Oh,
they wanted to make me a cook.
Are you serious?
Wait a minute, what?
Paperwork?
Yeah, lost all my shit. Wanted to make me a cook. Couldn't get a hold of my recruiter, so I was stuck. And I was like, well, what am I gonna do now? You know, I was like, I'm not going to the military to become a cook.
Yeah.
So I have a degree in criminology. You know, sociology with a concentration in criminology. And they were like, well, you can either take this or you're not gonna move forward. And I'm like, I'm not going.
I'm not going. What kind of alternative is that after I put in all this work?
So I bounced around for a minute, man. Never wanted to be an actual police officer. I have been in every single type of situation dealing with law enforcement, minus actually going to jail.
Wow.
It's always been wrong place, wrong time. So I always told myself, I never wanted to be that guy. Never wanted to be in the police department. But, you know, my ATF or CIA dreams were something that I was doing for myself, but something that was bigger for me was I'm a family man.
Okay.
Like, I'm genuinely a family man. So I ended up just going to the police department only for the simple fact that I knew I wouldn't have to travel.
True.
You know, when I fell in love with my wife, it was like, yeah, I know I'm doing this for a woman, but at the same token, it's like, this is what feels right, you know?
True.
So because I didn't want to travel and I truly wanted to be a family man, I knew going to the CIA wasn't going to be the best opportunity for me to truly do what I felt was my purpose here on this earth. So went the law enforcement route, did that for a couple of years, realized that after having my son, I didn't want to put myself in life danger anymore. So then I made a transition to what I do right now, which is a financial advisor.
What made you choose the specific police department that you chose?
Anne Arundel County. So I applied to be in law enforcement 32 times.
Holy shit.
32 times I actually did the application. And I never actually finished. I was always top when it came to the taking the test, physical fitness part. But when it came to the background check, I never wanted to do it. I was terrified of doing a polygraph. And the reason why is because when I went to school, and this has a lot to do with why I'm a financial advisor now, but when I went to school, I had a lot of debt. You know, my student loans were $120,000 in student loan debt, all on me. So when I came out of school, all I knew was debt. You know, a black man going to college, trying to do the right thing, getting a good education, actually being a collegiate football player and not choosing the NFL or not choosing that route, but truly wanting to serve and do something for his country, is now in $120,000 worth of debt. Nothing. All my dreams are gone, you know. And so, you know, I look at that and I'm like, if I'm in all this debt, they're not gonna take me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I was embarrassed, bro. Like straight up, you know. And I'm like, and the debt would just kept coming. So anyway, long story short, I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick with it. This final time, I'm gonna try this one more time, and I'm actually going to see what happens.
Okay.
So it was Baltimore. Well, the reason why I was in Anne Arundel County is because my wife's family lives over here. They at the time they were living on the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
So we ended up moving back on this side to be closer to her family. And I ain't gonna lie, no offense, but I hate Maryland. Like, it's too expensive. I want to go back to Virginia. I like
Virginia.
Richmond.
Oh yeah, Richmond. Okay, yeah. Stick that out. Okay.
But I want to go back.
Okay, I was about to say.
I want to go back to Richmond.
Okay. Shout out to Virginia.
Yeah, shout out to Richmond, 100%.
I was there for 2 hours at college. Go ahead.
So I ended up. It was between Baltimore County.
Okay.
It was between PG County.
Okay.
Anne Arundel County. And Howard County.
Okay.
Now, I don't know. Y'all may or may not have done a story. Y'all ever heard of Ja'Kai Colson?
No.
So Ja'Kai Colson was the African American brother. He was an undercover undercover police officer for PG County. He was the one that was shot and killed. This was probably like 8 years ago.
Okay.
PG County, they had a shootout.
Okay.
And he died because one of his own partners shot him. Didn't realizing that.
Okay.
I think I remember hearing something like that.
Yeah, Ja'Kai went to Randolph-Macon too.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
My mentor at Randolph-Macon.
Wow.
He was one of the other reasons why I joined the police department.
Wow.
But I didn't want to go to PG County.
Yeah.
So I chose Anne Arundel. I lived in Anne Arundel. It was easy enough. It just fit the where I was living at the time.
Okay.
And I like what they had to offer. As far as compensation wise, and I told myself the only thing I want to do is be on the SWAT team. I don't want to do nothing else. No. So that was the reason why I chose.
Well, tell me this: how does it work as the process? I know that you said that that's what you chose, but was it a thing where you filled out an application? Do you take some type of physical test? Like, is there a situation where it's like, okay, you sign up for the police thing? Do you interview? Is it an interview and then you have to show that you're in shape? How does that work?
Yeah, so you go through the first part is the application process. So you got this long application. No, first of all, you got to apply, and then they have to be like, okay, yes, we want to even allow you to
go
apply.
Forward.
You go through the application process, which is the packet. I want to say it's maybe like 20 pages. And it goes back to childhood, like the last 10 addresses you lived at, and you gotta legit list this stuff.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, man, they talk to your old neighbors, like they go deep, you know. And so you have the packet you go through. After you complete the packet, you go through the written exam. That's just common. To be honest with you, it's just common sense. There's no study guide. It's just common math, like basic stuff.
Okay.
Writing, things like writing is the most important. Like, believe it or not, like being in the actual police academy, you can most likely get yourself a writing degree because you write more than probably anything else.
Okay.
You got to really be able to articulate everything you say.
Yeah.
Because of all your reports.
Yes.
So writing is huge as a police officer. So you go through you go through a writing portion as well. You go through a physical fitness portion, which is, I mean, you got to run 1.5 miles under a certain amount of time. You got to do a certain amount of push-ups, sit-ups. That's it.
That was it. That's
yeah,
it.
that's what they grade you on.
I got you.
To get in. Then after that, obviously you go through the investigation portion where you have each person is assigned an investigator. That's who does all your background stuff. So you're going through your physical, your fingerprinting. You're going through your talking to all your referrals and things of that nature. Let me think what else. I think that's about it. But all of that probably takes about 3 months.
3 months. So tell me this. When you, all right, so, you know, I always see, I'm only known from watch TV shows and shit, right? And, you know, you see a person and it's like, this person is a detective and this person works homicide and this person does this. How does that work? When you know how, like, any job, you might start at a certain level, then you grow to be a supervisor, and then that person supervises. So in the police department, does it work where, I guess where you start off at a certain level, and if you want to get to a point where you're doing homicide or an investigator or undercover, do you have to grow to those levels?
100%. You spot on. So everybody starts out on the road. Everybody. So the road is going to be the typical officers you see with the marked vehicles driving around, right? You're most likely on the road for like your first 3 years.
Okay.
3 to 4 years you're on the road, and really it's your way of, number one, like any job, when you think about it, like your first couple of years you're really getting your feet wet, right? And so as a police officer, you got to think about it, you got to be kind of crazy to do the job. Now I work midnights, straight midnights. Yeah, so I love playing in the dark, like that was my thing, you know. And so everything's different at night. Like I got like 5% tint on my car. You can't see that at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you think about 2 o'clock in the morning, you walking up to a car, you can't see inside that car.
Right.
That takes a long time to actually learn how do you maneuver? Where do you stand? What do you look for? You know, how do you position your car? Where do you actually pull the car over?
Yeah.
To make sure you're in a safe spot that's well lit.
Yeah.
You know, so these little small things, it takes a lot of time to do it. And yeah, they teach you the basic stuff at the police academy, right? But at the same token, it's all about trial and error when you on the streets, man.
Yeah.
Like you on the streets.
Yeah.
You know, and I worked in Brooklyn area. I don't know if y'all familiar with Brooklyn. So Brooklyn is pretty much that's heroin capital right there.
Okay.
Like that. So we button right up so in Northern District we button right up to Baltimore City. Okay. So a lot of their shit gets comes on our
back
side.
And forth.
Everyone travels in between. So you think about it and it's like you're getting the worst of the worst.
Okay.
Where I was working at in midnight. So you as going into a different a specialty niche, whether it was it's called DDU. That was the detectives inside the actual stations, and then you'll have like your narcotics guys, or you have like your TPU, which TPU is, we call them pretty much the jump out boys. The plainclothes guys, unmarked car, jump out middle of nowhere. It's like 5 of them, 5 deep, just jump out of the car and be like, put your hands up, like those type of people. And everybody has their niche, but it's going to be, it's really about getting that experience for the first couple of years first. And then you can kind of move around.
Okay. And so is it like how like they may say, all right, so let's just say that you want to be a detective. They have it where it's like a certain amount of years. You can be a detective after you've done this many years of this and then this many years of that. Nah. Or do people rise and they be like, man, he's so good, we're going to take you and put you over there. Like, can you skip if you're really good?
Yeah, you can really skip. Good, right? You can skip, but it all depends on, it depends on where you want to go at. So, for example, like you got people who just want to be traffic people. Right, they want to be in traffic safety.
Yeah.
Right. So what do? pull over a shit ton of people.
Is that real
Right.
quote? Is that real?
Because
Everybody asked that. The question is no. Legitimately, there's no actual quota, but there's an unwritten rule.
Okay.
You got to pull over 2 people. You got to write two. You got to submit 2 pieces of paper a night. Now, what a lot of people don't know is most people in Anne Arundel County, most officers in Anne Arundel County, they don't write tickets. Just warnings.
Okay.
The tickets, the stop is made in order to figure out what else is there to pull you over for. Like, I'm not pulling you over. I'm not pulling most likely, if you have a Cadillac, say 2023 Cadillac driving down the road and one of their brake lights is out, right? I'm pulling that person over because I'm most likely it's probably like an old person. Like it ain't nothing. You know the cars to look for. Them busted cars you see driving around here, they already know. That's the problem. They already know they hot and they still riding around the same type of cars. Yeah. But see, those are the people that are most likely they're probably gonna have drugs in the car. There's probably gonna be a gun in the car.
That's
probably
what they
gonna be
teach
something
you
there.
they teach you to put that type of thought process because of the statistics.
So
of previous.
Yes, but it's learned.
Okay.
So you learn that just by being on the road on what cars are or how to approach a car. Or you pull up behind a car. We've all drove behind cops before or in front of cops. What's the first thing you do when you see a cop behind you?
Move to another lane.
Move to another lane. What you do?
I moved to another fucking lane, but I don't do it immediately though.
Slow down.
Immediately. So okay. So all right, for our young people out here who are not doing any type of criminal activity, tell them, ask the same question basically. What do you do now? How should a person react to getting pulled over? What if it's their first time getting pulled over? What, from your aspect of it, how should that go to make you not tense, to make you not what should the young person do that's getting pulled over to not freak out, basically? Go ahead.
Do exactly what you just said you did.
Okay.
And I think a lot of times what happens is, what you'll find is people will try to hurry up and get over.
Yeah, not freak out. That's my point. Yeah.
They freak out.
People get scared.
Yeah, they get scared. And see, that's you think about any other situation, like we're built to look on nerves. Like, how are you going to respond? Yeah. So, like, unfortunately, I'm still like that now. So I watch people. I watch body language. You know, when people drive, I'm the same way. So it's like when you think about, if you're just gradually getting over, you see a car that's behind you, flying behind you, the first thing you want to do is like, I ain't about to get hit by that car, so I'm going to merge over. All right, same thing. But it's the people who overcorrect, right? Or it's the people that try to hurry up, try to jump 3 lanes and try to hop off the highway real quick. You know, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
All 3 lanes, off the highway.
You see a cop, you don't use a blinker, and you immediately make a right turn. I got cut somebody off. It's those small things. And it's like, why would you do that? But see, you would think the same thing if someone just grasped it. That was kind of weird.
Definitely.
It's the same thing. You know? But people try to label it and be like, oh no, this cop is out to get me. No, it's just you just driving weird. So I'm gonna figure out what's going on.
I got pulled over because I started to slow down, and the cop wanted me to get the fuck out of the way, so he got so pissed off. He pulled me over. He was like, bro, why wouldn't you just get out the way? I was like, man, I ain't know what you was doing. He was like, bro, just get out the way. Like, he pulled me over just to cuss me out. Just because I was like, I ain't trying to look too hot. You know what I mean? You might panic.
Now, that's the thing. You have brothers and sisters out here, no criminal background, and we're taught a certain way when you see the cops. So you automatically get nervous sometimes. So whether your profile may be looking at tendencies, slow down, get over real quick. Somebody that has no legal troubles ever, they may do the same thing as a street criminal.
Yep, they're gonna be very nervous. And what's crazy is, what's crazy is, like, I don't know how you're able to tell. It's just being a student of your craft. Like you just
hours and hours just spending hours
that's,
out there.
That's just what we do.
Tendencies.
You know, and it's not. It's really easy to pick off it's really easy to pick off the people who are doing something wrong. Like it's weird to say that. Like and I'm not gonna lie to you. Like that was one of the reasons why I left law enforcement, because law enforcement is something it's very dark. You got three different types of people of officers. You got your bullies, right? The people who were bullied in school, right? They're obsessed with power, right? You have your generational families, mom, dad, uncles, sister, brothers,
nepotism.
So now we're just following the family path. Then you have your do-gooders. That was me. You have your people who genuinely just want to make society better. And there's one common denominator with all three of these groups, and it's that it's everybody, whether you like it or not, is going to go through a stage where you become a little dark. You start to hate people. You start to hate humanity.
You develop a bias. You develop a bias.
Yeah, and it's very toxic, and it's actually more toxic inside the department than it is on the street. It's worse dealing with your own peers than it actually is dealing with the rest of society.
So was there one particular incident, or was it one thing that said, you know what, I'm done? Was it a build up? You know, like what's the worst thing that you experienced while you were an officer?
I would say no, it wasn't a experience. You know what? To be honest with you, the thing that really changed my outlook on the department was when my son was born. I felt invincible before that. Nothing scared me. You know, I've seen people's head blown off in front of me. You know, been shot at, been stabbed before. You know, these types of things are real, and it happens. And what's crazy is all that stuff my wife never knew. She know nothing. And I did a very good job of keeping work at work and home completely separate. But the problem is you were legitimately living two different worlds. And so think about a guy who is or a female who is living a double life. You know, they have a family at home, but then they also got a family stepping out somewhere. It's the same thing. Like you generally have to be able to keep up and balance two completely different worlds. And it was and again, it was something that was very dark for me. I think that the worst thing that happened probably shouldn't be on this. So we can talk about that more offline. But I think that for me that was my turning point. It was when my son was born, to be honest. Okay. And I knew that I thought this is what I wanted. But you find so often that you put in all this time, all this effort, all these reports to then lock up the right person, and that same right person that should be in jail just gets right back out. Yeah. So why am I doing what I'm doing? Who is it helping? Right? If it's not helping the person that's going in, because when you throw a 14-year-old kid in jail because he pulled out a gun on his grandmother, stealing Percocets from a purse and all her money, you put that 14-year-old kid in jail. What does he learn? How to be a criminal. What is that actually doing for him? How are we creating these environments for our children to then become upstanding men and women like we are, if all they know is the system? But it's all because of how they were raised before they even committed whatever crime they committed. It starts at home. So I knew that I wanted to make sure that I was that man who, when my son looked at me, he saw what he should be. He saw exactly what he should be trying to mirror when he grows up. Now my son does unfortunately want to be a police officer, but if he chooses that route, hey, I 100% be there for him. But at the end of the day, like as of right now, I did not feel that I could truly be a voice and truly be able to serve our community. Right now, I think all police officers do, they're just guidance counselors.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone got body cams. You can't do your job the way you need to do it to truly protect and serve.
Yeah, true.
So
that's another perspective, bro.
Yeah.
And they give and I'm sure they do, but you spoke on some of the things that you saw, that you've been through. And I have a female a best friend. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but she was a former police officer, and this was years ago. She was a PG County police officer, and she was just saying, she was explaining to me the first time she got shot at, and she was just saying that she was out at night and was about to pull these guys over, and next thing you know, she's getting shot at. And she told me that she had seen so many dead bodies that they all looked the same. So she said one day she had went into a person's apartment, and they had killed themselves or whatever. And I guess part of their head was missing. But she was saying that when she's looking at it, it didn't look like how the average person would see it, because she's seen so many that it was just like, didn't care, but it's just like it wasn't shocking to her because of whatever. And so do you feel like as a police officer you gotten desensitized or were at one point to that type of thing?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Man, it was crazy because like while I was in the police department, I had a few deaths in my family. Man, I ain't even cry. I ain't really have a feeling. Like it's weird, man, because it's true. Like, when you go in there, see somebody hang themselves, you're like, all right, where the clues at? Like, is there a note? Like, what's going on? Is there anything else? You're not even paying attention to. Yeah, you're not even paying attention to the person. I'll tell you, the worst experience is rigor mortis. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
So, we military lady, young girl, she overdosed. And she had the pills and everything, the box. She had like a little tin can box right next to her, but she was in this bed. She was probably, skinny. Think about like a gymnastics player, like skinny like that.
Okay.
Right? She was probably his size when I saw her. White girl, she looked his complexion.
Wow.
Yeah. But with a hint of purple in it. Well, As we're trying to move her body, all you hear is her body was like popping. So like all the gases that were inside of her were and you can smell it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it ain't nothing like you ever smelled before.
Yeah.
And it does not come off your clothes either.
Wow.
At all. That was probably the worst, like, shocking one. I was like, holy shit, man. But then again, 10 minutes after that, we had Chipotle. Like nothing ever happened.
It's lunchtime.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's 12:30. It's lunchtime.
That ain't normal, right?
That's not fucking normal at all.
No,
so you see where I'm like, yo, like I'm losing my humanity.
Yeah.
And people get sucked into that and they stay. Now, it happens different for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw that like early on, and then a lot of times as a police officer, you're so geared around getting overtime, right? So you create this lifestyle for yourself. Is you have to chase the money, so you have to go to work. Now it's no longer doing it because I love it. It's my job, and in order to take care of my family and keep up with however I'm overspending, right? And my budgeting, I just got to keep going and going and going and going and going. So yeah, you just get stuck in this whirlwind, bro. It's crazy.
Do you have any regrets? Like when you look back, do you regret leaving the police? Do you regret that when you were a police officer, or do you feel like you're happy with you making the decision to leave?
Fortunately for me, I have no regrets. I think that I've been blessed with a really learning and exploring myself. And so I try to do things and overthink about it to make sure that I don't have a regret. So when I left the police department, it was something. It was the first time that I felt like I did something for me. Because you think about everyone that looks at a police officer, they hold you up here, right? Now, I left the police department to sell life insurance. What the hell was I thinking?
How did your coworkers, your co-police officers, because you still relatively young man, right?
Yeah.
When you get into it, you expect to retire, right? Over the 25 years, what did your coworkers feel about your decision to leave?
Oh man, 98% of them hated it. Like everybody talk shit.
Yeah.
That's law enforcement. People do that anyway, you know. Family, why would you do this? Friends, what were you thinking? And then there was on the flip side, there were a lot of people who were like, you know, I'm so happy that you're out of that world. But I think that to make that decision was probably one of the hard decisions I ever made, because when I left the police department, my son was 6 months old. We had just bought a new house. Like I just cut all the ships.
Yeah.
You know? But I knew in my heart that it was the right decision to make.
Okay.
And that's the main thing, because a lot of people can tell you, everybody has an opinion on everything, us included, right? But it's a great thing to know yourself and know in your heart what to do, and not let the outside noise, because at the end of the day, it's your life. And if something happened, everybody be saying, "Oh, we missed that," and everybody will move on with their life.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I mean? That's just the way it works. So
exactly.
for you have to take that. Hey, look, I get what everybody's saying. Police officers, y'all can talk all the shit y'all want. I'm done and I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a question before we move forward. In your department, did you ever encounter any crooked cops? Did you see any foul doings on the cops' behalf?
Yeah. You know, it's something that thin blue line thing is
super real.
It's real. And it's a thin line.
Yeah.
When I say that, to say every encounter you have, typically when you get sent to a call, you're sent with 2 officers at a time. Most of the time, unless we're just crazy busy. But then you'll always have, anytime you see more than 2 officers, either 1, it's they're bored, or 2, it's some shit just broke loose. But most of the time, like, they're bored. So you may have like 3 or 4 cops show up to one call, and it's always that one. It's the bully.
Yeah.
It's the bully. So the one who cuts corners, the one who starts shit just so they can start fighting. You know, you find that, and it's to be honest with you, it's out of 10 people, it may be just one person.
Yeah.
But that one bad person sets everything off for the whole, for everybody. But yeah, you see it a lot, and it's something that you truly have to figure out. All right, are you going to be a part of the brotherhood?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that, because it's like you can see it, but
No
you can't
snitch
be the person. Yeah, so you know what I mean.
It's a
Like,
similarity to the streets.
Yeah,
even though
Very
you
similar.
see it,
yeah.
it's just like,
do you
what
turn
you going?
do you turn your eye and just and let it roll? And I'm not gonna lie, like, so I spent in Anne Arundel County 4.5 years, and I stayed out of everything. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
No shit. Stay at everything. Look, I'm on my own damn business.
yeah, true.
I'm doing what I need to do to get where I want to be at. Like, I tried to, as much as I could, to separate myself from anything that was not going to get me to where I wanted to be at. All I wanted to be on was a SWAT team.
Focus.
That's it. But yeah.
Oh, that's what's up,
I
man.
just chose not to. And again, is that the right decision?
It was a choice.
No. It actually isn't the right decision. When you think about it, these are the people who we rely on when shit hits the fan. So we need to make sure that they are the right people that's out there.
True.
That doing the job. Was I supporting that? No, I wasn't. I was supporting myself. But I ain't gonna lie, but I would not. I don't regret that.
Yeah, I feel you.
Because that's what I need to do to eat. You know.
So, any advice to any young people thinking about becoming police officers today? What would you tell them?
Shit, if I was being 100% real,
Go ahead.
It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to tell someone or recommend being in law enforcement. It takes a special person, and not to say a special is meant to be a good thing. It takes a very unique person to do that job on a day-to-day basis and truly have a quality of life that is truly flourishing. Because I feel like you're kind of dancing with the devil, to be honest with you. It's like, all right, I can be a police officer, but yeah, my quality of life, it ain't gonna be shit until I retire, or you choose a different route. But I would say truly do your homework. I would do some internships. I would use a police officer as a stepping stone to truly where you want to be at. If you just surely want to be, if that's your dream to be a police officer, hey, no harm, no foul, go for it. But if you want to do more. I would just say, expand and truly reach for the stars and don't limit yourself to any one specific department. Because every department is different.
Okay.
You look at Anne Arundel County compared to a Baltimore City, night and day.
Okay.
They don't even use computers. Baltimore City, they write everything. Everything we do is on the computer. And so really know what you're getting yourself into, and honestly, you're not going to know that until you do it.
Until you do it.
Yeah, but I would say, just do your homework first and know that's what you want to do before getting at it, because you are putting your life and your family's life in danger.
Well, let's transition into now. That was great, man. That was real. That was dope. But let's transition into now. What's going on with you now?
Yeah, so now I run a financial planning practice for Northwestern Mutual. A little bit of backstory about that is, as I said before, I came out of school with $120,000 worth of student loan debt, knowing that I wanted to be that one in my family to change the Scruggs dynamic. My last name is Scruggs, because as a culture, and I always go back to this, we have no knowledge of what it means to truly have a sound financial plan for our future.
That's a fact.
Meaning black people.
Black people, yes. Our families, our mothers, our fathers, our grandparents. It's something that we lack, and it is what it is, And
that's a good point.
I started out obviously leading the department and going into life insurance. I sold that for about 3 years. I was great at it, loved it, but the problem was I wasn't impacting people. It just did not feel like I was doing enough. I always felt that there was more. So to get into financial advising, I took 3 months and I didn't work. Like, I went into a state of depression because I was like, you know what? I have a passion, I have a drive, and I feel like I know what I want, but I didn't know how to grasp it.
I got you.
I couldn't see it. And so, I went through the struggle of really sitting down with myself and obviously talking to God. I'm a huge believer there. And thinking about, I took down all my values. This is what I want in a job. I want to work. I want to be able to work from 7 to 3. I want flexibility. I want to be making $200,000+ a year. And it was some other stuff I put on there. But everything I put on there, I was diligent about who I spoke to, who I spoke about what I wanted to do. Right? Because the people who you share your dreams and goals with are very important. You want to make sure that it's a very small circle, because everyone's going to try to come in and destroy your dream.
Definitely.
Everybody. And so I was very strategic about how I wanted my lifestyle to be. I'm very goal oriented, and so when it came to Northwestern Mutual, I actually wasn't even looking for them. They came to me, and it was through LinkedIn, and I sat down. I had 9 interviews with them, and I was interviewing them. They wanted me, and I wasn't sure I wanted them. No bullshit. And it was more so of a thing like, what can you do to make sure that I'm putting myself in the position to not only impact my family, but be able to impact the masses? How can you help me get there? If you can do that, I'll sign the papers.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up there. And so it's been a journey. It's been hard as shit, man. It's a lot harder than I expected. And what's funny is it's the damn black people that give me the most issues. Of course. Mm-hmm. My own family, man. My brother, he got 5 girls. I love you to death, bro. Got 5 girls, man, and he will not sit down with me and talk about financial planning. But I think that it's something that I never thought that I wanted. I didn't know I needed. I didn't know that this was even in my dreams or even in God's plan for me. But ever since I joined Northwestern Mutual, man, I have dedicated my life to truly just trying to be that spoken word for our people. And not only black people, for just people in general, because, you think about a financial advisor and the first thing you think of is, all right, I got to have a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's right. What comes to mind.
Everybody say the same thing, man. Everybody say the same thing. And I'm like, I get it, because I was that same way as well. Mm-hmm. I said, but think about it this way. The bare bone basic, an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, right? Basic. Everybody know they need this, right? Mm-hmm. But then when I sit down and I ask the person, all right, if you couldn't go to work tomorrow, right? Maybe you go on disability from your job. Maybe that's 50% of your income. Okay, well, how are you still living and having your day-to-day living expenses taken care of when only 50% of your income is coming in the house? Where's the rest coming from? I don't know. It's like 90% of the time is what I get. I'm like, all right, well, let's figure that shit out. Like that's the first part. Yeah. So with any financial plan, and there are different types of advisors, but I'm just talking specifically from my practice. We first focus on just figuring out, what does your budget look like? How often do people actually sit down and know the numbers? This is what I'm spending for groceries. This is what I'm spending for, fixed expenses, because you got fixed expenses, the expenses that you must have. Mm-hmm. You got your discretionary, which is your play money. Do whatever you want to do with it. Then you have your savings account. People only use their fixed expenses bucket and their discretionary, and then it's like, well, why are you not saving nothing for a rainy day? Yeah. And they're like, well, I'm not making enough money. Bullshit, man. You just ain't. You don't have the self-discipline to actually do that, and that's most people, myself included. Yeah. So what do you need? A financial planner. You need somebody that's going to help you get from point A to point B. We plan everything out. We plan this podcast out. Mm-hmm. You plan your week out. You plan what you're going to do with your kids for the weekend, right? You plan your day at work. You plan your lunch schedule. You plan all this stuff. But you have no freaking plan on what it's going to look like when you turn 65, you collect Social Security, and you retire. What does that shit look like? Are you going to be like everybody else who just sits here and is like, all right, well, I'll live off Social Security, if they have Social Security, or I'm going to live off my 401k or my pension. But then they're like, I ain't got enough money, so now I got to go back to work.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
You don't want to have to go back to work. Right. You want to be able to live and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You worked your ass off all these years just to throw it away when you need it the most.
Yeah. You find yourself more so having to convince a lot of people, other than them reaching out to you like, hey, listen, this is what I want to get done. Show me how to get there.
Well, I don't convince nobody.
Right.
They convince themselves.
Right.
But it's just
they have the fixed mindset that they're already in.
But you asking like, is it more like, you're asking like, are you more, do you have to sell yourself to the people?
Right. Because like people like not wanting to sit down, right?
Yeah.
Then when they finally sit down, they're like, all right, You know what I'm saying? That's okay. I need to try to convince these your kids. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. So I tell you what. Yeah, you bring up a great point, and that's something that me and my colleagues we talk about all the time. Is that so? As a financial advisor, that's not something that people go on the internet and search for.
There you go.
Exactly.
Never. It only comes from referrals.
Period.
Or cold calling.
Yeah.
That's it. And cold calling sucks.
Yes, it does.
I've done that.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Done that a lot of times.
Yeah.
Me too. You know, and so referrals are really where it's at. At the end of the day, and even sometimes those can be weak.
Yep.
You know,
Yes,
depending on if that person actually tees you up. Be like, hey, you know, I'm having such and such going to give you Thad's going to give you a call.
Yep.
I had a great conversation with him, and I think you should talk to him too. So, you know, when in that aspect, it typically takes a person. I set the meeting up, and they may or may not show up to the meeting. I call it a discovery meeting, and that's just saying, hey, what do we have going on? Is there something that I can help you out with?
Right.
True.
Technically, it's more so like, what can I help you out with? Because I know there's always something.
It's definitely something.
It's always something. But it's most times people are embarrassed about their finances. They're embarrassed about the situation, and
that's a good point.
They take the same road that got them there is the fear of failing, the fear of not being able to get out of the current rat race that they're in. So instead of trying to do something about it, what do? They do what they're used to. They do what they
used to.
You know,
and stay in the same place.
They stay in the same damn place, and it's until they're like, now I want to make a change. And usually it's like something in life happens. A family member dies.
Somebody dies.
You know, somebody gets a promotion at work. That's a good time to talk to them. Somebody gets laid off from work. You know, and they're like, I got to figure things out. But yeah, I think it's very hard. And that takes a special kind of person too, because a lot of times it's just me having just you as a financial advisor, the good ones anyway. They become great because of how personable they are, how relatable you are. For me, I genuinely care about you. Most financial advisors, they want your money. I mean, you see that a lot.
Just to touch on just the life insurance portion. Experts say a good rule of thumb is to have 5 to 10 times your annual income in a life insurance policy. Based on that, both groups are under insured. So do you have people who might just tell you, oh, I have life insurance just through my job, but do you talk about the actual financial planning aspect and telling them how much more they should have if they have a mortgage, because you have mortgage insurance as well? So if somebody passes away, their home wouldn't get taken from their wife or getting taken from their family. Do you also touch on those aspects?
Yeah. So think about it this way: you got how many kids? You got 2?
I got 3 3.
Okay, so I
got 3 kids. Right?
So you think so you think about it, and obviously it's situational. Everybody's situation is different,
right,
as far as how much their insurance need. You know, it depends on the debts that you have, the family that you have. What do you want to leave behind for your family, if anything? And so, yes, the first rule of thumb is it's actually 8 to 10 times.
8 to 10 times.
8 to 10 times just out the gate. I'd be like, all right, so whatever that is, say you're making 100,000, or you need $1 million, right off the top.
Absolutely.
And that's just let's just throw a term policy in there. You know, very cheap, 30, $40, right? And then let's look at what you have going on. What do your debts look like? What do the kids look like? Because as we're younger, we need more coverage. As we get older, we start cutting back on our expenses. So expenses are going to get lower.
Yes.
So you won't need as much life insurance. In the beginning, you want to start out with a term policy, because the term is going to be able to give you a cheap coverage to take care of everything. God forbid something happens to you. When you got 3 kids, you may need 2.5-3 million.
That's
right?
a good number.
Right.
I always say $1 million just to start off. Like me personally, with my family and with my wife, $1 million that's minimum.
Yeah, but see,
and then I'll go up.
Think about this. How much does it cost you to run your household on a monthly basis?
I'm just throwing numbers out there. Let's say 7,000, 6,000.
All right, 7,000.
Just to run my household, yeah.
Okay, so you died today. How old are you now?
44.
All right, you 40.
I look 42 though.
You 44 years old. $1 million of coverage is going to give your wife 11 years.
That's not enough time.
That's 11 years.
I
bro.
need two. I need at least how much? I need 4 million, 5 million.
You need about probably like 3 to 4 million.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that's 11 years.
That's nothing.
So not. You just said it cost that's $7,000 to run the household. You pass away, it's $1 million. $1 million ain't shit.
It's not.
If you living in Maryland, you know like if you ain't making 6 figures as a family,
talk about that.
You
part,
in poverty, man.
Talk about that part, bro.
You in poverty, and
Talk
so
about it,
when
bro.
you think about life insurance, so that's 11. You give your wife 11 years. What happens after that? And that's including everything.
Struggle.
Everything is perfect. It's peachy for the next 11 years.
Struggle.
But people look at, oh yeah, I got $250,000. I'm good. What do you want to do with that?
The problem is the short-sightedness of it.
That's why. That's what drives me to do what I do to spread this awareness out more, because people just don't understand. Like, it's so much more to. This is what runs America. Like,
It does.
Cash value life insurance, whole life coverage.
Talk about that part.
These
the beauty.
Two different.
The
two
Walt
different.
Disneys of the world, the Marriotts, you put any business, you can put any business on the table, and I can guarantee
It
you
has to be covered.
a lot of the expenses that are paid to like the high people are paid through cash value life insurance. Freaking life insurance. It's a study called the EY study, Ernst & Young, and it talks about how to have a proper retirement, you need whole life coverage and your investments, as well as your retirement plans, your 401ks or your pensions. Because you living off a 401k, just basic. You live off a 401k in retirement, right? Say you retire at 63. The first 3 years, the stock market is down, right? You got $1 million of coverage you started off with, but you have lost, call it 30% of that, because the stock markets are down.
Yeah.
And you also going to pull from that because you're in retirement. So then by the time, in 10, 15 years, you ain't going to have nothing. But when you take whole life coverage, so you can use the cash value when the markets are down, and in your investment portfolio, you can use your cash value life insurance to pull from that while you're still living, and be able to allow your investments or your 401k to grow back up. And then once it grows back up, you can just replace it. I paid my car with cash value life insurance.
That's beautiful.
My car.
The one thing I used to tell people, if you want to create wealth, very simple way is to buy cash value life insurance.
Cash value life insurance. But you gotta buy it from the right place. Not to say Northwestern Mutual this is legit. Northwestern Mutual is the number one cash value life insurance company. However, yes, but to your point, yes, you're correct.
Yeah, at the age of like 25, now the checks and balances of what you make, your bills and all of that, I did that at 25 just for a 1 year basis, because I made a certain amount and I was in debt, credit card, nothing huge, but it's like $5,000 debt, which is huge to me. And I didn't have any savings, but I had some financial understanding from my grandmother and my mother. Not a lot, to the degree that I learned as probably 2 years after, around 27, but I had some type of basis, and I still was doing, you're young, you got some money, you're gonna spend it.
Right.
But 1 year, 25 years old, in the summertime, sat down, did my checks and balances, and then I realized I had like between $12,000-$15,000 that I couldn't account for at all. And from there, I said, okay,
Gone in the air.
I need to start saving. And that's when I started saving. 2 years later, or a year and a half later, that's when Trey came to me with an opportunity. Hey, do financial planning through this company, come in, Went into the interview or the presentation. I loved it. I sat in the same presentation with a different company at the age of 21. I invested then. I just did an investment. I didn't go into the insurance. I guess the market must have been down at the time because I stayed in that investment for 2 years, lost money for 2 years. Pulled my money out. I said, all right, taking it out. I'll figure this out later when I learn more about it because y'all not helping me. Fast forward, get into what was it? World Financial Group with Trey. We learn about the different insurances. We break down
Rule of 72.
Rule of 72.
Yeah.
Rule of 72.
We break down the interest rates and how it really works.
How they impact you.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
From there,
Eighth wonder of the world.
From there, it just gave me like another third of what I needed to learn. And from there, it was like, oh, rocket ship in my mind for myself.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's hard to talk to family. Family know you as one way, one person.
Yep.
This is who you are.
Yep.
Now you venture here. Nah, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Or they may sit down with you, let you go through your presentation. Nah. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I tried to stop a family member of mine from going through a reverse mortgage. Tried to stop it. But whatever reputable company that she went through, nah. Matter of fact, you should work for them. I'll send your resume over, And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do that. But it really opened my eyes and changed my outlook on just how I recklessly was spending money.
Yeah.
And what I needed to do moving forward and how I could help other people. And for the ones that I was able to help, to this day, they're still in their policies or updated policies. Awesome. I'm so happy for them. I forced my brother to do it.
He did.
He was young. He was super young. I forced him to do it.
Well, Thad, I had before we wrap it up, I wanted to ask you, what's your ultimate goal, man? Because you're very, you talked about us being inspiring, but you're very inspiring.
Absolutely, bro.
And so I just want to know, I already know you're the type of person that got the 5-year, 10-year, exactly hear and how you speak. So what's your ultimate goal, man?
You know, it's funny. I was driving here and I was thinking about this. So I typically do things in 3-year stints. So right now, the biggest goal I have is building a house, man.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And I'm gonna tell you why. So I'm big on when it comes to like inspirational or you know what is going to move the needle for me. I really try to look within myself. I'm a strong believer in I create my future. You know,
Absolutely.
it's not based off of being inspired by the Ed Milet's of the world or, you know, David Goggins or, you know, reading a book or anything like that. Because yes, that is something that will motivate you, right? And push you to take action. But what's going to keep you
Sustaining.
moving?
Yeah.
That all comes from the heart. That all comes from within, you know? And so I say that to say, like, my biggest goals is finding is diving deeper into what does Thaddeus Wayne Scruggs Jr., what can he offer to the world, you know? And so like I do a lot of I do cold plunges, I do ice baths, I do cold showers. I do these things to set my mind up for whatever it is to really figure out how much further can I push myself to be a better man, to be a better father, to be a better friend, entrepreneur, you know, whatever it is. I'm constantly chasing that within myself. And so I think for me, like at the end of the day, me finding how much further can I push this vessel that God blessed me with? How much further can I push it? And can I push it until that, you know, till I have to punch that ticket? You know, that's legitimately what I'm out for. But you know, to second that, it is this house. You know, it's this 5.5 bedroom house, 2-car garage. I got a man cave that's going to be in the back.
Crazy.
That's going to what do you call it? A barn. It's going to be a barn, man cave. And like these things, you know, I want a pool, I want a hot tub, you know, and I want another ice bath. So these are things that I dream about, you know, that I'm going to speak into fruition because, again, family is truly what grounds me. And as a man, when you can surrender your mind, your body, and your spirit to truly being the best version you can be for your family, then it doesn't matter what arguments you're having. It doesn't matter what the kid did or didn't do. You know, it doesn't matter how bad your wife treated you today or if you just didn't get none. Let's call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have dedicated your life to do what God put you on this planet for, and my home is my foundation. So I want to build my forever home. And I don't care what the interest rates are. Like, I know that the good man upstairs, he gonna lay the foundation for me. So we're gonna be good. But I think within the next 3 years, that's truly where my mind is set on, and being able to get back on, honestly, get back together with you all and just create more content around financial services and what it can do. Because I think that, again, like I said in the beginning, this is just not something that we are taught, and so many people are missing the key things to have a life that's more than what they can actually possibly dream of. And it's literally right there. You just have to be able to take action, and most people just don't know. They just don't know.
So what would you say, just ending off to the people, just to get started, just to get started with planning, and then they meet a guy like you and tell them where to find you?
I would say, to get started, well, first you gotta save. But I would say, for people who are even saving just a little bit, where are you putting that money at? Okay. Put your money into a high yield savings account, Ally Bank, ALLY Bank, or Capital One 360. They're both high yield savings, so that you can, your hard earned dollars are then creating more money based on the fact that you're putting more money into this account. You want to do that. If you're truly committed to saving, that's going to be the first start right there. And man, get yourself a freaking financial advisor.
Tell them where to find you, bro.
So northwesternmutual.com. It's Thaddeus.Scruggs at N as in Nancy, M as in Mary.com. That's my email. I can be reached anytime. Cell phone 571-408-5790. Always open to chat, whether it's about financial advising, whether it's about goal planning, I mean, whether it's just about life. I don't even know my social media accounts.
It's all good. that has a pod. He's not. He's taking a break from it.
He about to get back in.
But it's a great pod, man. And I'll actually reference it on our IG page. I just want to thank that, man. This was very informative.
Thank you, bro.
Very dope, bro. Truly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You can find our pod on Instagram at The Rec Room Pod. Also, follow us on there. Subscribe to our YouTube page, The Rec Room Pod. We do audio pods that are on Podbean every Thursday at 8 p.m. So those are live. So if you want to chat with us live, you can do that. The link for that is inside of our Instagram. So it all starts with following us on Instagram. We also have a segment called Ask the Rec Room, and that's where the people follow us, ask us questions, give us scenarios of what's going on, and then we give the answers. So till the next time, peace.
Peace.